The heartwarming moment of an orangutan mother and her baby being rescued was captured on camera, and their emotional response is likely to bring tears to your eyes. Due to various factors that are primarily linked to human intervention, orangutans have become one of the most threatened species globally. These remarkable creatures are hunted for their flesh, trafficked for illegal pet trade, and their habitat is destroyed through deforestation. However, it was during a raging jungle wildfire that this mother and baby orangutan's destiny was forever altered. This account took place in 2015 in a tiny Indonesian village where a mother orangutan and her offspring were spending their day in the forest. Suddenly, massive flames emerged and began to engulf the surrounding trees, catching the two primates off guard. As the conflagration expanded, the temperature rose, prompting numerous creatures to escape the vicinity, whereas others tragically succumbed to the inferno. This was a severe and devastating wildfire. A significant number of these wildfires are unlawfully initiated to clear land for agriculture, with the locals demonstrating little concern for the wildlife they destroy in the process. Regrettably, most of these fires escalate beyond control during dry weather conditions, rapidly spreading over many miles. Unaware of the situation's gravity, the mother orangutan grew anxious and ascended one of the tallest trees in the vicinity, hoping that she and her offspring would remain unharmed for some time. As the two listened to the trees collapsing in their proximity, they managed to remain secure in their perch. But then the wind changed direction and the fire began to make its way towards the two animals. As the trunk of the tree began to be consumed by flames and collapse, the mama ape made a huge leap and grabbed onto the nearby tree's branches. Thankfully, she managed to grab onto the trunk of the nearby tree safely. Not wanting to put her baby in danger, the female ape began to make her way from tree to tree in an effort to get away from the fire that raged behind her. After a while, the female orangutan stopped in a tree and looked around. She could see the smoke of the wildfire in the distance, but it seemed as if she had finally managed to get far enough away from it to be out of immediate danger. Not feeling completely safe, the female orangutan quickly made her way down to the forest floor as her baby clung to her. The two apes made their way on the floor and further away from the heat of the wildfire. Soon enough, the mama ape had found her way on the edge of a small village. Feeling very hungry, the mama cautiously made her way out of the trees and into the fields that seemed to be growing some sort of vegetable. Dotted around the field were a few villages working on the fields, but the mama orangutan was far enough away from them that she would be able to eat undisturbed. Creeping into the field, the ape began to eat what she could whilst her baby climbed down off of her chest and began to look around. The mama made sure that her baby was within her sights at all times, but let him look around. For a while, the mama and her baby were left undisturbed in the field, but the female ape began to get thirsty. She scooped her baby up and made her way over to a local well. She found a bucket of water sitting on the edge of the well and began to drink from it. But as she was drinking, one of the villagers who worked in the field spotted the ape and her baby. The villager immediately alerted the rest of the village, and the two apes were quickly surrounded, not wanting their crops to be eaten by the ape and viewing the animal as nothing more than a pest. The frightened locals reportedly held rocks at them and tried to tie them up. Thankfully, the malnourished mother and her baby were found by volunteers of the organization, International Animal Rescue, but before they were able to rescue the apes, the villages had decided to take matters into their own hands. They ended up injuring the mother and her baby with the rocks that they had thrown at them, as well as that to try and stop the animals from running away so that they would not return to eat more of the crops. The villagers had tied the mama orangutan's arms up using some rope, which unfortunately left rope burns on the poor animal. Thanks to one kind-hearted villager, though, the International Animal Rescue Organization was contacted and told of the two animals who needed their help. The charity helpers quickly settled for the village. Once at the location, the volunteers witnessed for themselves just how helpless the two orangutans looked. Wanting to get them to safety as quickly as possible, the rescue team anesthetized both animals before loading the female orangutan and her baby into a carry crate on their van. The volunteers then quickly headed back to the sanctuary, where they would be able to look after the two apes. After arriving at the sanctuary, the mother orangutan and her baby were given separate health checks by the on-site veterinarian, who deemed both of them severely malnourished and suffering from cuts and bruises. The animals were then reunited again and put in quarantine for a few days so that they wouldn't get any of the other animals at the sanctuary sick if there was a hidden condition that the vet hadn't initially been able to pick up on. For the next few weeks, both the mama orangutan, who the staff named Nina, and her baby, who was dubbed Bungan, which means Roscoe, recovered their health under the watchful eye of the sanctuary's vets. The two apes' injuries were well taken care of, with vets applying special healing creams to the burns that they both had sustained and cleaning out the cuts and bruises that had been made by the animals' run-in with the villagers. As well as that, Nina and Bungan were put on a special diet, which would ensure that the two orangutans gained the weight that they needed to be healthy in a safe and consistent manner, without causing them to become sick. After a few weeks, both the mama ape and her baby began to look a bit healthier. They had regained the weight that they had both lost, and their attitudes seemed much more content and playful. This was a good sign, as it meant that no lasting damage had been inflicted upon the two apes that would prevent them from returning to the wild when the time came. As well as that, with a consistent food supply, Bungan had started to noticeably grow, becoming bigger and more curious. The volunteers at the sanctuary would often watch as the young orangutan tried to play with the older apes in the enclosure by teasing them or purposefully stealing their items to get them to chase him. Nina had also settled in while bonding with the other female orangutans that the sanctuary had rescued. Finally, the day came that both Nina and Bungan were deemed healthy enough to be released back into the wild. They were set free in a well-known conservation area in the West Kalimantan province, where they would be safe from poachers, loggers, and hopefully wildfires. The two apes happily entered the forest content to be back in their natural habitat once more. Although the volunteers who had saved these incredible creatures were disheartened to bid them farewell at the sanctuary, they recognized that releasing the primates into the wild was the most fitting course of action, since they rightfully belonged among their own species. The duel was also tagged to enable the volunteers to monitor their activities, ensuring their well-being and contentment. Moreover, it provided critical insights to the International Animal Rescue (IAR) about the orangutans' conduct in their natural habitat, including the behaviors and patterns they displayed and their significance. This data empowers organizations such as the International Animal Rescue to assess the optimal means of aiding these magnificent creatures in the wild, while also educating local communities to prevent incidents like Nina and Bungan's from recurring. What a beautiful story. Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please give us thumbs up and consider to share it with your friends and family. Also, press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.